It's as if the entire world decided to be annoying this week. Cause have you guys heard about this Kemi's deportation video and the two journalists that were talking on TV about the benefit of colonialism and how we should acknowledge this? What? Let's get into the video, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to Official Biola Live. So I had a different video planned this weekend. We've been on our travel vlog and tourism theme this past few weeks. But then I saw Kemi Badenoch's video and then the video of the two journalists arguing on TV about the benefits of colonialism, and I just had to scrap that and do this quick video because it is important that we talk about these issues as they spring up. Anyway, let's get started. So we're going to start with our favorite person, Kemi, and the new video that has been trending all week, and we're going to address all the points she has raised in this video.
From next year, 2 million immigrants could automatically claim British citizenship. 2 million people. That's nearly twice the population of Birmingham. That's massive.
Auntie Kemi is saying from next year, 2 million immigrants could automatically become British citizens. And she's pushing a deportation bill and telling Labour to get on board. But wait a minute, 2 million immigrants becoming citizens. Where is this number coming from? Because if we go by the actual figures and the stats, it just does not add up. Let's go back a bit. In 2022, around 185,000 people got citizenship. In 2023, around 200,000 people got citizenship. And in 2024, around 215,000 got citizenship. I'm going to put the exact figures up there for you guys. So yeah, it's going up slightly. I acknowledge that. But Auntie Kemi is talking about a jump from 250,000 to 2 million. Like, come on, let's be serious. There's no data that supports that. She just picked that figure out of thin air and she's selling it and she's tapping into your fears. And to be honest, your racist fears. Because I'm never going to go into that today. And I know that despite me just countering Kemi's claims, there are people that will be like, even 250,000, it's too much. You people are coming, you're taking over our country. You Africans, Indians, Asians. Calm yourself, okay? This isn't some mystery mass migration. Most of these people are spouses of British citizens, children of British citizens, people with legal ancestry, so people that their parents or grandparents were born here or they're British and they were born in another country and they're trying to come back home and claim their citizenship. And people who have been working and paying taxes here for at least 6 years or more. It's not possible to just come here and claim citizenship. That is not how it works. And yeah, it's not people coming in on boats either. A large number of these people are Europeans, Americans, not just the demographic that your politicians like to scapegoat. These are people that they've probably followed every rule in the book to qualify for citizenship. It's not easy. Do you know how much money you pay? Do you know how much, if you're on a work visa, you have to do 5 years on that work visa, then you do 1 year on ILR, and do you know how much immigrants pay yearly? Another point Auntie Kemi raised was,
and no permanent right to stay in the UK if you've relied on benefits.
That already exists. Because if you're on a work or study visa, you literally cannot access public funds. That means no benefit. Try and get it and your visa gets revoked. If you're caught lying, forget about ILR, not even talk of citizenship. And for some of you that don't know what ILR is, that is the indefinite leave to remain that you get before citizenship. So yeah, when Auntie Kemi says no permanent right to stay in the UK if you rely on benefit, that already exists. She's not solving a problem. She's not solving a loophole. She's just repackaging because she's counting on your ignorance and your lack of willingness to do your own research. And honestly, I'm going to say it, the hatred in your hearts. Anyway, let's go on. Another point Auntie Kemi Badenoch mentioned was
tougher visa rules and salary thresholds.
But wait a minute, the UK just hiked the skilled worker threshold to 38,700. Most people in the UK don't earn that. You that you're watching this right now, that you're British, how much do you earn? Tell me. Because the median salary is around £30,000. So currently, the hike has made it so that immigrants need to earn more than the average Brit just to come in legally. So nurses, carers, teachers, forget it. And now, Kemi Badenoch wants us to believe that is not strict enough. So tell me, what's the goal here? Is it zero immigration, or is it all about sounding tougher than Farage? Because that is what it is beginning to look like. It's no longer looking like actual good policies that benefit the society or the UK. It's about like, who's going to sound tougher? Let's be honest, this is Brexit-style politics all over again. Big numbers, fear-based messaging, promises that collapse under scrutiny. Back then, it was £350 million for the NHS. Now it's 2 million immigrants are taking your passport. No one is asking the real questions, like who is going to staff the hospitals, the schools, the care homes, if we make it impossible for immigrants to come and stay. Because these are shortage occupations. You're complaining about the long NHS waiting times. Well, immigrants, do you know what that would even look like? I think another problem and another point is, it's always immigration, isn't it? Like, that is the only problem in the UK. The NHS crisis is there, the housing crisis is there, food banks, rising cost of living, crumbling local councils. But nope! Every campaign video, every soundbite is about immigrants because it is easy, it sells, but it's also lazy and frankly a distraction. You know, I like to think I am a reasonable person, unlike some people out there. So I'm not going to say there's nothing in this bill that makes sense.
Here's what will work. Deport all foreign criminals. Mandatory age checks. No more pretending to be kids.
You know, foreign criminals should be deported. That is a fair thing to say. Age checks. Okay, if done humanely, sure. And yes, we should close loopholes and make sure the system is not being gamed. But that is different from whipping up fear against good tax-paying people that have just come here contributing to your economy and your society in positive ways, or punishing people for needing support while fleeing war zones. If the system is broken, let's fix it with data and dignity, not fear and fantasy. Kemi's video is slick, you know, like I've said, it taps into your fears and your hate.
Time to get tough. That's what the Conservatives' Deportation Bill delivers. And we're going to go further. Our country is a home, not a hotel. And if we don't defend it, no one else will.
I have said this over and over and over again. Don't swallow political content without questioning it. Not from the Tories, the Labour Party, Reform, not anyone, even me. Do your own research. Question them. You know, ask yourself the tough questions like, who benefits when they scare you? What policies are they not talking about? Because while they are busy shouting about immigrants, your rent is rising, your GP is impossible to reach, and your wages haven't increased. Okay? So, you know, question them. Do your own research. Now, let's go on to part 2 and the colonialism apologists.
We now have a generation that believes everything we did by colonizing. Yes, it is true. They think everything about colonization was wrong. It wasn't. There were some terrible things and there were some good things to come out of it.
So these two beautiful, ignorant ladies said colonialism was not all bad because the British Empire brought education, sanitation, money and transport to the colonies.
Countries did not have money. Education. Yes, completely. Sanitation. Transportation.
Yeah.
There was so much that we brought to communities.
If I had £1 for every time someone said this, I would probably be able to buy back some of our stolen artifacts. But anyway, let's talk about this because this argument, it's not new, but it's misleading, dishonest, and frankly, dangerous. So, first of all, let's be clear. Colonialism wasn't about charity. It was about conquest. It was always about conquering places and people. The British Empire did not show up in countries across Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean because they wanted to help. They came to extract resources, labor, and power from us. Cecil Rhodes said, we must find new lands from which we can easily obtain raw materials. So don't rewrite the past. Don't try to rewrite the history. And this was not about sanitation and education. Like, are you crazy? It was about exploitation. Colonized nations were forcefully integrated into an imperial economy designed to benefit Britain at the expense of those nations. And the auntie talking about transport system. Yes, the railways, the empire's favorite PR success story. But here's the truth. Those railways were not built for the people. They were built to extract goods, cotton, tea, minerals from the interior to the ports for Britain. In India, for example, the British built an impressive network of rail lines, but they were constructed by Indian laborers under brutal conditions, often underpaid, malnourished, and replaceable. It was not about development, it was infrastructure for plunder. They did not build it for us, they built it for themselves. Don't be ridiculous. Yes, education is another favorite justification. But, ask yourself, what kind of education? In most colonies, education was tightly controlled to create a subservient elite who could help the British run the colony. You were not being taught to challenge colonialism, you were being taught to accept it. Let me quote your favorite person, Lord Macaulay. We must form a class who may be interpreters between us and the millions whom we govern. So yeah, that's not exactly an endorsement of universal education, is it? And it is also worth pointing out that most people did not get this limited education. The vast majority remained uneducated according to your British standards, because education according to whose standards cut to the heart of the colonial hypocrisy. In West Africa, like Nigeria, there was already Islamic education system safe in places like Kano, Timbuktu. There were Quranic schools teaching Arabic theology, law, Sharia. There was astronomy, like people were reading the stars, and there was mathematics as early as the 11th century. We had the Ife and the Benin court, where there was artisanship, there was political training, philosophy that were taught through apprenticeship, and the palace institutions. In India, they had the Gurukul system, apologies if I'm pronouncing that the wrong way, where students lived with teachers and learned astronomy, mathematics, science, medicine, logic, and Sanskrit. Like, are you joking? They had the madrasa system. They had Nalanda and Tashkal. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. I'm just going to put it up there. So, what are you talking about when you say, I will brought education to them? Anyway, the point is, these were not primitive systems. They were sophisticated, localized, and deeply aligned with the values and needs of our societies. The British colonial education often replaced them with their narrow, Eurocentric models that taught colonized people to serve the empire and not their own people. So get out of here without stupid rhetoric about education. Get out. And sanitation. I'm never going to touch that one. Sanitation. Really? That's the joke of the century. Like, get out of here, man. Now, the money argument is especially ironic. The British extracted wealth on an industrial scale. In India alone, it's estimated that $45 trillion was drained between 1765 and 1938. The colonies did not get rich from the empire. The empire got rich from exploiting the colonies. You brought money. You brought what? You brought pounds to Nigeria, for example. We had our cowries that we're using. We had our own money system. And you erased that to replace it with spending pounds. And we don't even do that anymore, do we? Do we now? Come on. Be for real. Behind every railroad and mission school was a legacy of violence, theft, and racism. Millions were killed in colonial wars. Entire communities were displaced. Traditional systems of governance, law, language, and religion were suppressed or destroyed. The partition of India, the suppression of the Mau Mau in Kenya, the looting of the Benin Kingdom, the transatlantic slave trade, those were not side effects. They were features of the empire. Like the audacity of a white Brit to sit down there on a morning show and tell us, the world, about the benefits of the empire. Are you joking? So when people say colonialism wasn't all bad, what they're often doing is prioritizing infrastructure that did not even benefit those people over injustice. You do not get to invade someone's home, burn it down, and then demand credit for installing a better toilet. We can recognize that countries built things during empire, but let's not confuse infrastructure built for exploitation with benevolence. So when you talk about, oh, a 13-year-old British boy that has to carry that, what?
Imagine yourself in the shoes of a 13-year-old boy hearing you say that.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. What do they then, how do they then carry that through life?
Well,
in terms of who I am as a Brit.
What? Acknowledging the historical truth so that we can dismantle any lingering structures of inequality that colonialism left behind. You are telling me I should care? What about what I have to carry? What about what I have to carry as the grandchild of people that were colonized? Or as the great-grandchild? You want me to care about the great-grandchildren of the people that colonized and plundered my country? What about what I have to carry? Like, oh my goodness. Yeah, anyway, the conclusion is colonialism was violent, it was exploitative and unjust by design. And the fact that some roads were paved along the way does not change that. Okay? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Everybody just wants to annoy you this week, but I will not let you. I already let you, but anyway. We've come to the end of today's rant session. If any part of this video, from talking about colonialism or Kemi Badenoch, if it made you uncomfortable, that is good. That means you are thinking. Okay? Thank you. See you same place, same time next week. Bye-bye.